Brandon, let's dig into another one of those use cases for sales ops. How could sales ops use Alchemer workflow to really improve the customer onboarding process? I think we've all been in situations where we've been poorly onboarded, and I think that's such an important part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Alchemer can definitely help sales ops teams as well as customer onboarding teams better engage those new customers and improve that overall onboarding experience. One of the things that, as we talked about winning new customers or potentially having existing customers where we expand their usage of our products, one of the problems that a lot of organizations face is low product adoption. And most of the time that's attributed to either customer confusion or that slow initial usage. That's obviously bad for sales and customer success teams who want to help their customers adopt the product and get to ROI faster. So in many cases, these teams don't have sufficient data to dynamically change onboarding in order to meet the needs of each unique customer. So with Alchemer, these teams can collect information at various points throughout the sales and onboarding process and use this data to update records both in their CRM and potentially even in their customer success applications. These teams have the ability to use Alchemer to automate this onboarding process to improve efficiency and the quality of those customer onboarding programs.
That's great. That makes so much sense in terms of customizing onboarding for each individual customer, because none of us are out of cookie cutter. That makes a lot of sense. Kathy, can you show us exactly how sales ops teams could leverage Alchemer and Alchemer workflow when it comes to new customer onboarding?
Sure, Jeannie. So let's start with the goals, some of which Brandon talked about. So when we set up a customer onboarding program, we want to make sure that the customer is engaged in onboarding with a program that's really tailored to their needs. And we also want to make sure that we're always measuring the success of the onboarding program, as that directly affects product adoption. And ultimately, what we're doing is enabling customers to find value in the product for their business so that they don't end up churning. So in this process, we're listening for that product purchase in Salesforce, which automatically will kick off a request for feedback that goes to the customer and also potentially to the sales rep. The sales rep has a lot of valuable information from the sale itself that we don't want to lose or make the customer have to repeat. And that information is super valuable for the onboarding team. From the customer, we want to know what their goals are for the onboarding process so we can make sure that we hit those during the program. And we can also include scheduling as a part of that customer communication to really streamline the process. Once we've collected all that valuable information, the onboarding team is going to find it really useful to kind of build out that tailored program for the customer. And having it all consolidated in a central location, in this case, Salesforce, means that the context about the customer is never lost, and we can keep adding to it as we build the relationship. So after we run the onboarding program and the customers participated in some of the sessions, we want to make sure that we collect feedback about the session from both the onboarding team and the customer. And we have several key goals in mind. So the onboarding team can share insights about the customer that are valuable to add to their account, such as whether they need any additional products or add-ons to make their implementation successful. And we can also measure the success of the onboarding sessions and know immediately if we need to spend more time helping the customer find value from the product. And finally, the onboarding team can use all of this feedback as training material to improve future sessions. Just like in the demo that we saw in the previous use case, with Alchemer Workflow, Alchemer can kind of automate all of these processes, which can help increase the onboarding team's efficiency and provide the team with the information necessary to deliver a really personalized and more relevant onboarding experience. So what are the outcomes that we might see from implementing this process with Alchemer? When customers participate in a successful onboarding program, they really become product advocates in their organization, and that can improve product adoption even across departments. When the onboarding team meets the customer's goals and leads them to truly understand the product they're using, that customer is then less likely to churn. And finally, when you give the onboarding team and the customer the opportunity to provide feedback, that can lead to identifying new sales opportunities.